Most people choose the wrong shoes for heel pain because they don't first think about what is actually irritating their heel. So in this video, I'll break down the main patterns I look for as a foot specialist, then show you my top shoe choices for each one. This isn't personal medical advice, but these are the shoe features I look for clinically when matching shoes to different heel pain patterns. If your heel pain is worse as you push off, that can suggest more of a stretch-sensitive plantar fascia problem. If your heel pain is worse when your heel hits the floor, that can point more towards a compression-sensitive heel pain pattern. And if your heel feels deeply bruised, especially on hard floors or after standing for a long time, I'll also cover shoes that may suit fat pad irritation or fat pad atrophy. The first shoe is the Brooks Glycerin Max 2. And this is the one I look at more for compression sensitive heel pain or fat pad atrophy. The Glycerin Max 2 gives you a large amount of cushioning under the foot, so there is more material between your heel and the ground. It also has Brooks's glide rail rocker, which instead of your heel landing and then your foot having to do the work, the shoe helps guide you through the step. It's a shoe that works well for standing all day or for walking, and the cushioning is not as soft as you expect. It's a normal width in the toe box and true to size and length, but it doesn't come in a wide version. If your foot collapses inward too much or you feel unstable in max cushion shoes, then the Glycerin Max 2 may not be the best option for you. In that case, one of the more stable options later in the video may make more sense for you. The second shoe is the KURU Atom 2, and this is the one that I'd look at if you have compression or stretch type plantar fasciitis problems. This section of the video is sponsored by KURU, but the reason I'm happy to include them is as heel pain is really the category they've built their entire shoe selection around. This shoe uses their advanced KURU sole design with heel hugging technology. So instead of just putting a flat layer of foam underneath your heel, the shoe cradles the heel as you walk. That is combined with a more rigid heel counter, which helps control the rear foot as you initiate contact with the ground, giving the heel a more supported and centered feel while walking. The Atom 2 has a 10mm drop with 28mm of heel stack and 18mm of forefoot stack. So compared with a lower drop shoe, it positions the heel slightly higher relative to the forefoot. That can be helpful because a higher drop shoe may reduce some of the tension placed on the calf, Achilles and plantar fascia while standing and walking. Underfoot, the shoe has a softer KURU Cloud Plus EVA midsole, so although this is not a super soft max cushion running shoe, it still feels nicely cushioned for walking, standing and all day wear. You also have the ultimate insole, which gives the shoe a more supportive underfoot feel through the arch and the heel compared with a flatter, more natural shoe design. The other thing I like here is the Nova Knit upper. It gives the shoe a softer, more forgiving fit on top of the foot. It's also available in a wide version, so it can accommodate a broader range of foot shapes more comfortably, especially if you have issues like bunions, hammer toes, or you don't tolerate stiff uppers very well. That is important because if a shoe feels too tight through the forefoot, many people often change how they walk. They might shorten their stride, shift pressure, or grip with their toes, and that can sometimes make heel pain feel worse. And unlike a lot of traditional comfort shoes, this still looks like a normal everyday trainer rather than an overly medical or orthopedic looking shoe. So the KURU Atom 2 is not the shoe I would pick if you want a soft max cushion shoe, but if your priority is walking comfort, this is probably the most heel pain specific walking shoe in the video. The third shoe is the Hoka Gaviota 6, and this is the one I'd recommend for people with flatter feet who need more stability, especially if they have a mixture of stretch and compression type plantar fasciitis. The Gaviota 6 is firmer and more rigid than some of the softer max cushion shoes, and that can actually be a good thing. A lot of people assume heel pain always needs the softest shoe possible, but if the shoe is too soft, your foot sinks into it and sometimes can increase the movement through the arch and the heel, as it places greater demands on the intrinsic muscles of the feet. For someone with a flatter foot type, that extra motion can keep irritating the plantar fascia. The Gaviota works well because it gives you cushioning, but it also gives you structure. You have the wider base, the H-frame support system, that firmer platform that guides the foot rather than letting it collapse excessively. So for stretch type plantar fasciitis, the Gaviota can help because it supports the arch and controls some of the movement that may be increasing strain through the fascia. But it can also work for compression type symptoms because there's still plenty of cushioning underneath the heel. The top of the shoe has the widest toe box of all the Hoka range, and it's true to size and length. For flat feet, heavier walkers, or anyone who feels unstable in soft shoes, the Gaviota 6 is one of the strongest options on the list. Next is the Nike Structure Plus, and this is the one I would look at for heel pain in people who need a stable protective shoe, but especially in those who have more of a supination tendency. Now I know that sounds a little unusual because the Structure Lion is usually thought as a stability shoe, but the Structure Plus is interesting because it gives you a lot of cushioning, a high stack platform, and a supportive ride without feeling like an old school, aggressive, motion controlled shoe. And for heel pain, that combination can work really well. You have enough cushioning under the heel to reduce impact, but you also have enough structure throughout the shoe that it doesn't feel wobbly or unstable. For people who supinate excessively or roll more towards the outside of the foot, the Structure Plus gives you a broader, more protected platform, and that can help distribute pressure more evenly throughout the heel and the midfoot. So this is not necessarily the shoe that I pick up for a very flat foot. That is where I would lean more towards the Gaviota or the Gel Kayano. But if you have heel pain, you need some lateral support, and you'd like something that feels protective without being overly soft or unstable, the Nike Structure Plus makes a lot of sense. The Asics Gel Kayano 32 is one that I'd recommend for stretch type plantar fasciitis in someone who wants arch support and a premium stability feel. The Kayano has always been one of the classic stability shoes, but the newer versions feel much more modern. You still get support, but it's not the harsh, intrusive type of support that older stability shoes used to have. The Kayano 32 uses a 4D guidance system. The goal is to provide adaptive stability rather than forcing your foot into one position. For stretch type plantar fasciitis, that matters, and a rigid support system can place too much pressure directly on the arch and increase your discomfort. If your pain is worse when pushing off, then the Kayano makes sense because it supports the foot through that mid-stance phase of walking. It has a normal fit on top, and it comes in a wide version with a nice premium upper. The big thing to remember is that heel pain is not one single condition, and that is why one person can swear by a soft max cushion shoe, while another person finds the same shoe makes their symptoms worse. If you have any questions on any shoes, please drop them in the comment section below. Links to all shoes are in the description if you want to check out the latest prices. And if you're new to the channel or you watch regularly and you haven't subscribed, please do, as it's a single thing you can do for free that makes the biggest difference to our channel. Thank you very much for watching.